So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the genius idea for the game. A futuristic world with neon lights and, yes, even as stupid as it sounds, cyberducks. Weird.
Cyberducks will rule once again.
Let's punch those keys and go back in time. The year is 2012, the Mayan calendar has failed to end the world, Gangnam Style is a thing, and CD Projekt Red, fresh off their success of the Witcher series, decides to play God.
Oppan Gangnam Style!
They announced the development of Cyberpunk 2077, a game set to be as ambitious as sending a cheeseburger to the moon. Now I know what you're thinking. Blistering Faith, why would CDPR, a company with a medieval fetish, suddenly dive into the future? Well, they took a look at their Witcher franchise and said, you know what this needs? Less dragons, more neon. And as we all know, everything is better with neon, right? The source material for this leap into the cyber future? A tabletop role-playing game from the 80s named Cyberpunk 2020. Apparently CDPR's motive was, if it's not broken, upgrade it until it is. They roped in Mike Pondsmith, the creator of the original game, likely with the promise of unlimited black turtlenecks and a chance to create a world where everyone has the fashion sense of an emo raver. The development period was longer than a Sloss marathon. After 8 years of trailers, teasers, and tantalizing details, CDPR had managed to hype this game up more than the invention of sliced bread. Bigger than The Witcher 3, they claimed. In response, fans worldwide promptly lost their minds, and some probably lost their jobs too, thanks to the endless forum scrolling at work. 8 years is a long time, people. To give you some perspective, you could watch the entire series of Friends 153 times.
Nice.
Now that's a lot of "we were on break," and still, Cyberpunk 2077 would be in the oven cooking away. The anticipation making fans salivate like Pavlov's dog at a bell-ringing convention. Meanwhile, CDPR was showing off gameplay mechanics that made us feel like we were about to get the keys to a shiny, futuristic city, with the power to control everything from our characters' backstory to their endowments. More on that later. And then we finally got the release date, April 2020. A light at the end of the tunnel. The messiah of gaming coming to free us from our earthly bonds. But as we'll see, it was more like a freight train coming straight at us. Buckle up, because next we're heading into the world of Night City, a metropolis as welcoming as a cactus hug and as colorful as a goth's makeup palette. Here, everything goes. And usually, it goes boom. Welcome to Night City, where the rain is toxic and so is the sushi. Night City is like if New York and Tokyo had a baby and then abandoned it in a dumpster full of neon lights. A sprawling metropolis where you're as likely to get mugged by a sentient vending machine as you are by a cybernetic gang member. Have you ever wanted to stroll down a street flanked by skyscrapers beneath which you can buy brain dances, the future's answer to Netflix and chill? Cybernetic upgrades and some questionable street food? Well, Cyberpunk 2077 has got you covered. In Night City, everything is for sale if you have enough eddies. That's slang for money for those of you who are slain challenged. Now you might be thinking, Blistering Faith, what's the catch? Well, in Night City, even your dreams come with interest. The city is so dark, the shadows cast shadows. To survive here, you need to be half hacker, half mercenary, and half suicidal. Yes, I know that's 3 halves. That's Night City math for you. This is the type of city where the ambulances come armed with machine guns. Why do you ask? Well, in Night City, healthcare is more of a combat sport. And let's not forget about the corporations ruling from their high towers, probably playing cyber golf while their underlings grind away in the cubicle farms below. You might ask how people survive here. Well, the answer is simple. They don't. They just exist in a constant state of almost dying. Night City is the sort of place where even the roaches have given up, deciding it's safer to live in a nuclear waste dump than share an apartment with a cyborg assassin. Despite this, or maybe because of it, the city is alive. It's like a neon peacock strutting its stuff, inviting you to look but not touch, because you'll probably lose a finger if you do. Night City is CDPR's love letter to dystopia, wrapped in a shiny chrome envelope and sealed with a kiss from a cyborg with mouth lasers. So now that you've got your tetanus shot and signed your will, let's dive deeper into the city that never sleeps, mostly because sleep is when the cyber rats come out to play. In the next chapter, we'll meet the digital ghosts that haunt this neon nightmare, the characters and stories that make Cyberpunk 2077 more than just a game, but an immersive, albeit traumatic, experience. Strap in and adjust your retinal scanners. It's going to be a wild ride. The phrase chock full comes to mind. I mean, the game is so packed with personalities you'd think it's the cybernetic equivalent of a clown car. And the story? You'll need a PhD in future nonsense to keep up with it. Let's break it down. Enter V, and yes, that's their entire name. Just the letter V. Because who needs a full name in a dystopian future, right? You can make V as cool, dorky, or eerie, resembling Keanu Reeves, as you want, thanks to the impressively detailed character customization. But no matter how hard you carve your V, remember one thing, they're about as welcome in Night City as a vegan at a barbecue. So V's trying to carve out a slice of immortality in Night City, but you can't make an omelet without breaking a few skulls. As V, you'll encounter the whole spectrum of Night City's inhabitants, from the tattooed maelstrom gang to the always fashionable corpos who'd sell their own grandmother for a promotion. The highlight reel of Night City's who's who wouldn't be complete without Johnny Silverhand, played by the internet's boyfriend, Keanu Reeves. Johnny is kind of like that annoying roommate who never leaves you alone, except he's a dead rocker boy who lives in your head. Yeah, you heard me. You're basically an Airbnb for a digital ghost, and he's not keen on checking out. And let's not forget about the other characters you'll meet, like Judy, Panem, River, and others who have more depth than the Marianas Trench. These characters provide rich side stories, which I won't spoil here because I'm not a monster, but let me tell you, some of those missions hit harder than a Gorilla Arms upgrade. The main story of Cyberpunk 2077 is more twisted than a pretzel in a yoga class. It revolves around a mysterious chip that everyone and their cybernetic dog wants to get their hands on. Spoiler alert, it's not for making phone calls or boosting your Wi-Fi. Trust me, you're in for a wild ride and enough twists and turns to make a roller coaster seem like a leisurely stroll in the park. But what good is a story without a place to tell it, right? Night City is the other star of the show. It's like a character itself, moody, colorful, dangerous, and occasionally prone to glitching out and turning the sidewalk into a lethal trampoline. But hey, no one said life in the future was going to be perfect. If you can overlook a few floating cigarettes and T-posing gang members, you'll find a narrative experience that's more immersive than a VR simulation of a submarine.
Emotional, damn it!
So you're strapped in and ready to take on the streets of Night City. But wait, do you know how to shoot a gun with your mind or hack a vending machine to attack your enemies? No? Well, you'd better stick around for the next chapter. It's about to get even weirder, folks. Brace yourselves. Now, I hope you're strapped in because we're diving deep into the Matrix to explore the flashy, sassy, and sometimes crashy gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077. First off, let's talk shooting. In the gritty, grimy streets of Night City, diplomacy often comes in the form of a gun barrel. From silent and sneaky techie weapons to loud and proud power guns, Cyberpunk offers more variety than a vending machine at a gas station. And if you're the type who likes a little chaos, nothing beats the smart weapons. Just squeeze the trigger and watch as your bullets pull a Tom Cruise in Top Gun, chasing down enemies like they owe them money. Not a gun person? No worries. Cyberpunk's got you covered with its quick hacking system. Now you can finally live out your fantasies of being a cybernetic wizard, zapping enemies with system malfunctions and turning their own tech against them. It's kind of like being a tech support guy, but with more lightning and death. Now you may be thinking, Cyberpunk, you've got your guns, you've got your hacking, what else can there be? Hold on to your augmented butts, because we're about to take a detour into Brawl City. Melee combat in Cyberpunk is a spectacle of fists, blades, and occasionally dismembered limbs. And with the Mantis Blades upgrade, you can make Wolverine look like he's wearing kitty gloves. But let's step away from the battlefield and head into the nitty-gritty. Character progression. Cyberpunk 2077's skill tree is so extensive you'll need a GPS to navigate it. There are perks and abilities for just about everything. From hacking to crafting to convincing people you're not the bad guy while holding a bloody katana. Trust me, it's a conversational masterstroke. How you build your character can dramatically change your experience. Go full-on Terminator with body enhancements, or finesse your way through problems with intelligence and cool stats, or be like me, put everything into luck and hope for the best. Spoiler, it doesn't work. The game also offers different playstyles via life paths. You can be a street kid, or nomad, or a corpo. Think of it as choosing whether you'd like to start your game in the gutter, the desert, or an office cubicle. But no matter where you start, you'll end up shooting people in the face. Lastly, let's not forget about the game's futuristic vehicles. They're your primary way of getting around Night City, when you're not using fast travel, that is. Or your primary way of mowing down pedestrians, if you're that kind of person. No judgment here, folks. And remember, in Cyberpunk 2077, choices matter, except when they don't. But that's a topic for another day. For now, let's strap in and get ready for our next stop in this crazy tour of Night City. Johnny Silverhand. Whoa. Now grab your digital autograph books, cause we're about to dive into the Matrix and meet the man, the myth, the legend, Keanu Reeves. No, not the guy who says whoa a lot. The other one. Johnny Silverhand. Ah, Johnny Silverhand. Imagine waking up with Keanu Reeves in your head. Not literally, of course, cause that'd be terrifying and very messy. But as a digital ghost. Kinda like a cool rockstar version of Siri, only he has a silver arm and you don't have to keep repeating yourself. Our boy Keanu plays Johnny, a rebellious rocker with a heart of gold and a head full of data. He's got more screen time than most of the other characters combined, and with good reason. You don't hire Keanu Reeves just to have him stand in the corner and look pretty. Johnny's got charisma, spunk, and a handful of great one-liners that have already made their way into meme infamy. Nothing quite says Cyberpunk 2077 like a smirking Keanu uttering "wake the f*** up, samurai." It's motivational, it's rude, it's Keanu. When he's not heckling you from the sidelines, Johnny plays a major part in the game's plot, weaving a tale of rebellion, revenge, and rock and roll. You know, the 3 R's of storytelling. Plus, he's one of the few people who can pull off a silver arm without looking like the Tin Man's edgy cousin. Of course, it's not all sunshine and daisies. After all, Johnny is technically dead. Bruh. And there's something profoundly unnerving about having a deceased rock star living rent-free in your brain, especially when he won't stop playing air guitar at 3 a.m. But that's part of Johnny's charm. He's flawed, broken, and he's a relic of a bygone era, struggling to make sense of a world that's moved on without him. He's your guide, your tormentor, your ally, and your enemy. And he's brought to life with such conviction by Keanu that you can't help but sympathize with him. Now don't get it twisted, this ain't a Keanu Reeves simulator. You've still got a city to save, a mystery to unravel, and a whole lot of edgy leather outfits to try on. But with Johnny by your side, every step of the journey is a wild ride. So as we say our goodbye to Mr. Silverhand, for now, let's set our sights on the next leg of our cybernetic tour, cause this train's about to leave the station at 300 miles per hour into a wall. But don't worry, it's gonna be breathtaking. Now let's talk about the hype. You know, that feeling you get when your pizza delivery is only minutes away? Yeah, that hype. But in the gaming world, hype is a double-edged katana, especially when it comes to Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red pulled out all the stops for Cyberpunk's marketing. I mean, they even got Keanu Reeves, the internet's favorite human/immortal being, to announce the game at E3 2019. And not just that, but they made him a key character in the game too. They literally made us all collectively say, whoa, in Keanu fashion. The trailers made Night City look like a neon paradise, full of futuristic tech, more morally ambiguous choices, and NPCs with more fashion sense than a New York runway model. The promise of an immersive RPG in a fully realized dystopian future had gamers salivating like Pavlov's dog at a Taco Bell. And don't get me started on the merch. Posters, t-shirts, figurines, a super expensive collector's edition that sold out faster than hotcakes at a lumberjack convention. Hell, they even had a freaking energy drink.
Oh my.
Samurai Cola, anyone? If that's not peak capitalism, I don't know what is. The hype was like a snowball rolling down a hill, growing bigger and faster with each passing day. And like any big snowball, it was full of dirt, rocks, and the occasional squirrel. But we didn't care. We were too busy dreaming about becoming the next great cyber ninja supermodel or bartender. And then there were the delays. Oh boy, the delays. If Cyberpunk 2077 was a train, it'd be the one that's always running late and smells like old socks. But every delay just added more coal to the hype train's furnace. We thought, hey, they're taking their time to make the game perfect. Good for them. Oh, sweet summer child. Even the critics were aboard the hype train, chugging on that samurai cola and humming along to the cybernetic beat. Early reviews praised the game's immersive world and engaging story, stroking the fires even further. Little did we know we were heading towards a cliff. So with that hype train at full speed, it seemed like nothing could stop Cyberpunk from being the greatest game of all time.
Are you sure about that?
That is, until we reached our destination. But as the old saying goes, it's not about the destination, it's about the joy of watching the train derail in spectacular fashion. The launch. The moment we've all been waiting for, like prom night, but instead of your date ditching you for a football captain, it's the game ditching you for a plethora of bugs. Imagine the scene. You're there, you're in the gaming chair, snacks ready, hydration on point, bladder empty. You've just installed the game that's supposed to be the defining moment of your generation. And then, well, it's like expecting a Michelin-starred meal and being served a half-cooked pizza slice. The game was a graphical disaster on older consoles. It looked like Picasso had a bad day and then decided to design a video game. Cars floating in midair, characters T-posing for dominance, textures looking like they were lifted straight from Minecraft. It was a hot mess. Then there were the crashes. Cyberpunk 2077 crashed more often than a rookie driver in a Ferrari. It didn't matter if you were in the middle of a mission or just strolling around Night City, the game could and would, often at the most inconvenient times, crash. And the bugs, my oh my, the bugs. More bugs than a cheap motel mattress. Dialogue not playing, characters not appearing, missions not starting. There were bugs that were just annoying and bugs that made the game simply unplayable. It was like a bug buffet and we were all unwilling diners. The reaction was swift and brutal. The internet went from hyping Cyberpunk 2077 to memeing it into oblivion. Angry gamers demanded refunds. Sony pulled the game from their online store and CD Projekt Red stock took a massive nosedive harder than a base jumper without a parachute. In the end, the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 was like a bad birthday party. Sure, there was cake, or in this case a game, but the clown hired for entertainment, read the bugs, scared all the kids, and the magicians, the developers, couldn't pull off the tricks, and the parents, CD Projekt Red, were left to clean up the mess. But hey, every cloud has a silver lining, right? Or in this case, a silver hand. Next stop on this crazy train, we delve into the patch notes. Because when life gives you lemons, you mod those lemons out and replace them with less buggy fruit. Stay tuned, Samurai, we're not done yet. So here we are, neck deep in bugs and glitches, feeling like we just been duped by the slickest con artist in Night City. But like a superhero swooping in to save the day, or in this case a bunch of underpaid and overworked game developers, CDPR started churning out patches faster than a granny on a sewing circle. Patch 1.1 came in like a knight in shining armor, ready to tackle the game-breaking bugs. It was like the world's most intense game of whack-a-mole, except the moles were bugs and the whacker was a code editor. Did it fix everything? Heck no. Nope. But it was a start. Then came patch 1.2, the knight's trusty squire, bringing a whole slew of improvements. Frame rates were stabilized, quests that were about as functional as a chocolate teapot were fixed, and they even managed to iron out some of the bugs in the character's hair. The only thing more exciting than patch 1.2 would have been if Keanu Reeves delivering it personally to your doorstep. Speaking of Keanu, did I mention how they improved Johnny Silverhand's pathing? No longer was he running into walls or falling through the floor. Johnny Silverhand, rockstar terrorist and now master of not colliding into stuff. But CD Projekt Red wasn't just about fixing the bugs. They were adding new stuff too. New cars, new clothes, new quests, and even a new game plus mode. They're making it rain content faster than a rapper in a strip club. And who can forget the free DLC, new hairstyles, tattoos, car colors. They even added a pet cat because what says dystopian future more than a pet cat? I mean, who doesn't want to take a break from the gunfights and the corporate espionage to pet a kitty? And then there were the mods. Oh boy, the mods. Because when the game doesn't live up to your expectations, why not take matters into your own hands? The modding community went all out, creating everything from graphical improvements to new quests. Yes, you guessed it, even more bugs. Despite all of this though, the patches didn't exactly bring the game back to full health. They were more like band-aids on a bullet wound, but hey, at least they were trying, right? So, with the ship steadied and the damage control underway, everything was hunky-dory, right? Wrong. Because while CD Projekt Red was busy mopping up the mess, the controversies were brewing. But more on that later. Alright, Samurai, let's hit the controversy highway, and believe me, it's more packed than an NPC's pathing script in Cyberpunk 2077. First stop, the over-promising and under-delivering Junction. CD Projekt Red, the golden child of the gaming industry, became the friend that keeps promising to pay you back and just buys another round of shots. The launch was more explosive than a grenade with the pin pulled out. Players felt betrayed, cheated, and let's be real, a little constipated from the stress. It's like being promised a Ferrari but getting a beat up Yugo with Speed Demon spray painted on the side. And then we have the refund fiasco. Like a dystopian novel come to life, they promised refunds without even telling the retailers first. It was like robbing a bank and then leaving your contact info at the front desk. It had players and retailers alike screaming, "What the actual frack?" And let's not forget about the console version. Sony, in a move as rare as an honest corpo, removed the game from their store altogether. That's right, Sony yeeted Cyberpunk 2077 from their platform. It's like your girlfriend kicking you out because you didn't live up to your Tinder profile. The backlash was fiercer than a Ripper Doc with a malfunctioning scalpel. Players were baying for blood and critics were sharpening their metaphorical knives, and you could hear the popcorn crunching from here to Arasaka Towers as gamers reveled in the drama. And then came the lawsuits. If you thought your breakup was nasty, wait till you get a load of this. Investors were suing CD Projekt Red for essentially catfishing them. Nothing like a bit of legal drama to spice up your dystopian release, right? But it wasn't all doom and gloom. Some players took to the game like Moxes to Eddies. They loved the story, the world, and let's face it, Keanu Reeves. It's like finding someone who enjoys pineapple on pizza. You're a little baffled, but you're glad they exist. In spite of all controversies, CD Projekt Red kept chugging along like a cyber psycho on a rampage, fixing bugs, releasing updates, and generally trying to put out the dumpster fire they'd started. So what's next for our beleaguered software samurai? Can they pull a phoenix and rise from the ashes of their flaming launch? Let's find out. Here we are, folks, the grand finale. Like a netrunner breaching a firewall, we've navigated through the bugs, the lawsuits, the hype, and oh boy, the Keanu Reeves. But what's on the horizon for the cybernetic soap opera? CD Projekt Red is still on the grind, fixing bugs like an exterminator in a roach motel. They're committed to giving us the game they promised, eventually. It's like waiting on a pizza delivery in the apocalypse, but hey, at least they're trying, right? And let's not forget about the free DLCs. They're on the horizon like gleaming neon lights of Night City. Who knows what they will bring? More Keanu, more cars, less bugs? It's like getting extra toppings on a pizza you didn't really like. Not necessary, but still appreciated. Then there's the promised multiplayer. This is like waiting for the second coming of Keanu. We all want it, we're all excited, but we all have no idea when it's happening. Can they pull it off? Will it be more like World of Warcraft or Farmville with guns? Only time will tell. But for all the mess, let's not forget that Cyberpunk 2077 is a beautiful disaster. It's a glimpse into a neon-soaked, grim future where everyone has a story to tell. It's an epic saga of corporations, punks, and Keanu Reeves in digital form. What's not to love? Yes, they screwed up the launch harder than a rocket with a guidance system from Wish.com, but they're working on it. In the cybernetic heart of this game, there's something special, like finding a diamond in the dumpster. It's still a gem. So what's next for Cyberpunk 2077? Only the netrunners at CD Projekt Red know for sure. But one thing's certain, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Alright, that's it for our whirlwind tour of Night City. What do you think, Chooms? Are you holding out for the Phoenix-like rebirth of Cyberpunk 2077? Or have you tossed it into the recycle bin and moved on? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And while you're there, tell me about your best and worst experiences in Night City. Did you romance Judy? Panem? Did you manage to find a bug-free quest? Have you seen Keanu in your dreams? I know I have. As always, if you enjoyed the ride, hit that like button, and if you want more trips down gaming memory lane, please make sure to subscribe. Until then, stay safe out there, samurai.